it. So flexibility for the Ambessa remains, which is cool to see, but Taeyun not going to have the opportunity to play this alongside a Lulu, and it could be that D+ can take a priority support and then start banning away the other options.
Mard's gone, Nico's gone. This is not necessarily a Talia, or sorry, not Talia, a Renata angle, I don't think, really into the composition here. They're just going to go for the Nautilus here for career because the Kiana's already locked in. We know this is not a flex. Doesn't feel terrible, but again, pretty high prio in this situation. A lot of teams would opt for a double-ranged bottom lane to just get value out of Comet and push the Yunara out. Could even be Lethal Tempo Varus in this draft.
Theoretically, we haven't seen it so far yet, and hasn't been as strong on this patch, but could also be an option here. As the Braum is taken away, obviously playing Nautilus into Braum feels terrible. With Aurora already there, we're not going to have to worry about the very sad Nautilus into a Nivea situation. As the Ahri is taken away.
Now those mid bans are starting to come through. We'll see the Ahri
LeBlanc,
first. LeBlanc, I think, will probably be the next. I suppose Silas could still work here. They banned the Alistair, though, so perhaps a little bit less likely now.
Really interesting that they've left the Lulu up and available. I believe that's because there is not a lot of engage already put together here by Nongshim. Likely the Kingin just slams a Scion so that they can still play something like a Lulu.
I think that works, though, you know? Like, they end up having so much engaged with the Ambessa Lulu, and the lane is so free that I just think it's warranted. The LeBlanc was not a surprise to anyone. I don't think you see this ban against 90% of the mid laners in the LCK, but against Showmaker you do. And he just instantly puts the Zoe on the table and says, "You don't know me."
That is so much single target pick though. If this is going to be locked in, it's kind of ridiculous.
Be pretty scary to play Lulu with all this.
Certainly would be.
Not gonna last very long against all this damage.
All right, Showmaker was having a little bit of a giggle, but just slams the Zoe. There it is.
CV Max was like the lock-in buttons right there.
Yeah, by the way.
Don't have to give us any suspense anymore.
Well, that would have been to Smash if that was the case. But still, there's the Nocturne. So that is going to confirm Ambessa in the top side of the map.
Okay.
And Leona is going to be there. So with the Nocturne lock-in, that means that there is no engage coming from the top side. And that means that Leona does actually have to happen. As let's see what the champion into the Ambessa is going to be here for Xiu. As he's cycling through some weird stuff, or at least Korea is. Let's see what they're actually going to lock in.
It is, I think something like Kennen does make sense, but they... Like, if you go for Aurelia, you're hampering your draft, I think, in so many other ways. I think that the Gwen is going to be very strong in team fights, and what they need is consistent damage, unless this Varus is going on hit, but I don't think that's going to be the case anymore with how they've set this up. I look at these two drafts and I'm like, okay, this game is going to be a one-sided game. I don't think there's any way this game is close. It's either the composition of D+ Kia gets ahead early, snowballs things, running the map with Showmaker fed on the Zoe, the side lane pressure of the Gwen, the Kiana explosive mid-game fights, or Nongshim Red Force have engaged for days and an insane front line and a Nocturne ultimate and a scaling Yunara. So, like, you either win the game early as D+, or you do not win it at all. I don't see any comeback angle in this one.
Yeah, they basically need to blow Nongshim up immediately with the opening salvo or die, is kind of how it's going to go. Because they're very cooldown reliant with a composition like this. We have seen the Varuses, even in the later stages of the game, actually find some big angles. But they're few and far between. Oftentimes, it's mid-game or bust with that champion. And let's see what Smash can do. I mean, Smash honestly has been phenomenal so far in our first week.
The early game for the Varus, because the Halo Blades is incredibly effective when you're...
To start things off, but that's not how things are going to be going this time. As Hook to start us in this bottom lane. As Paddle Start comes out there from Showmaker, but not exactly the longest of range.
Potentially, as the 2v2 could be coming through. There's a hook onto Taeyun, though. Does have to use the cleanse to start this fight off. Smash wanting to try and find the kill onto Taeyun. Korea turns it. Looks to slow down Lehens. With the Eclipse running, Korea is in a lot of trouble and does get the Shield of Daybreak. Korea so close to dead.
As Nocturne's coming down here, but Sponge is not alone. How quickly can he take Smash out is the question.
Yeah, that's the big deal. Zenith Blade is going to connect, and that means that there is a kill going over to Lehen. Sponge gets out of tower range, though, as Lucid looking to try and chase him down. Isn't going to be able to quite find the angle.
Just
Yeah, Sponge and Lens.
We have
getting
the
that one
big
done.
group up for D+ and a Randuin's.
Yeah, there's a hook to start this one off as Eclipse is getting some work done. There's the flash out, Lens just pops like a balloon. Down goes the Kiana though in response as Sponge will get stunned up. Paddlestar is going to get spell shielded nicely. There's the flash in from Showmaker, picks up the kill, and then steals a flash to get out. Now Taeyoon's dead as well as the hail of arrows rains down. Yeah, is it Korea POM? Like, what's happening here?
Might be.
Auto jump here from Showmaker gets him back to where he doesn't want to be. Now Lucid having to bounce his way out, but that's not going to work. And Sponge, 2 for nothing for Nongshim.
All right, well, we go back to square one in this one. As now Smash without Cleanse here, does have his flash.
Yeah, Lahen's going to start this one up. Can tank for a while with that Eclipse running, but Career is moving forward. Lahen's is very dead, and Smash is actually alive. So just a dive that isn't really what they were looking for. Taeyoon just walking away on fire right now, but Sponge is moving in. Career looking worse for wear now as the Nocturne looking to make his way down, and Lucid wanting to get this one done. Is going to show up. Smash at 100 health, though, needs to be very careful as there's a piercing arrow connecting onto Taeyoon. Career likely to die. There's a paranoia. He goes in. Sponge looking to try and make his way out. Dustbringer might be able to speed him up, but Showmaker is rotating down. There is that cue to come on forward, and so Sponge is going to make it to the darkness.
The benchmarks they're looking
safety
for in this early game.
Yep, it's what they're looking for. These grubs now going to be the target here for Lucid. Sponge might be able to rotate down, doesn't have Paranoia up and available, and Supreme Display of Talent is there for Lucid now that he has hit that level 6. Looks like it is just going to be grab one of the grubs and then move on with your life. Anchor is not quite going to connect. There is the Paranoia coming down to Showmaker. Let's see whether he can get out of this. The answer is no. Bubble does connect, but yeah, if the bubble lands and there's no one there to pop it, does it really land at all is the question, I think.
Well, I don't know if Lucid can make a play here on the bottom.
Flash out from King and as Shiu going very aggressive. There's the ulti back though, as now without that needlework available, Shiu could be in trouble. However, if you land all the snips, you're still going to have a good trade. Continuing, minions are running out as now Lahen's moves over. Lucid diving on forward, does try and save his control ward, but isn't going to be able to do so. There's the flash in from Lahen's. They get the solar flare onto Lucid, and Korea realizes he's not going to be able to help here. There's the Arc of Judgment. And Taeyoon able to take down the Kiana. Flash out, Chains of Corruption there. They should still be able to make this comp work in this mid game that's coming up. But it could be better as Chains of Corruption are going to come out. Solar Flare is going to hold on to Career as Lahen's uses him to taxi his way out. There is a hook connecting, but Taeyoon's going to make his way in. And that might be a bridge too far here as Scout is rotating down and Career is very, very dead. There's an angle onto Scout, but the Supreme Display of Talent is not exactly named well. And Paranoia comes in. Sponge takes the kill onto Lucid, and he's dead for the fourth.
Soon. A Dragon is spawning on the opposite side of the map where they're trying to make a play here onto King, who does have his ultimate. Does not, however, have Flash. And also Career is lurking by, so this needs to work here for D+.
Yeah, definitely does. So they're going to start it. Kingen gets underneath this turret here, as Needlework has already been used. See whether Shiu does find the angle. That's a great use of the public execution, but he's still going to be dead because DK just sent everyone.
I mean, D+ have figured it out, okay? They're like, Smash is the win con, he's the one who's ahead. They played through him outside, they made some mistakes there, but they know where their bread is buttered. In this game, they're like, okay, it wasn't working well. Smash gonna have to cleanse here.
Yeah, immediate cleanse does come on down as he throws out the ulti. Scout moves in though, and boom goes the Varus. Showmaker now looking for a bit of an angle. His Career is in position. That is a very dead Aurora, and she will go down. Shiu now also able to take the top.
Grubs as yeah, we didn't need the context. Actually,
he was in the river, ladies and gentlemen, and that was illegal.
The
Lens gets used in mid.
She kind of dies there in those situations.
All right, Taeyoon did have to press his cleanse button.
5v5 without a crazy wombo as... All right, wombo.
Yeah, Shiu is not quite allowed to be here. Does use the flash, but there's the public execution, and down will go the Gwen. Does have a few snips in him, but it's not going to quite work out. So that is a Gwen on the floor, and DK looking on to see whether they have to cross map the next port of call as far as the fight is concerned, and DK probably don't want to give this one away for free, but there goes the Paranoia. Sponge gets on in there, the flash out from Lucid, but I don't know whether he's going to survive. He does get the ulti down, but Smash is not going to live through this one, and all of them just take a nap. Lucid, Showmaker, and Smash dead in the blink of an eye.
And that's Baron here for Nongshim. And Taeyoon didn't even really have to do anything. He's like, I'm ready to clean up the kills. They were already on the floor from the combo there as we saw the final ultimate from Career. Hits Taeyoon, and Taeyoon's in the air like, okay, but the fight is done. Thanks for the effort, though. As Shiu, it looks like he wants to trade this for a Dragon consolation prize here.
Yeah,
at best for D+, but
I think they will at least be able to get that. But
Scout is not working out the way he wanted to. And scrappy fights are the name of the game for D+ with this composition, right? They want to constantly
whoever
try
sort of
to
starts
find
to get a
takes.
lead is likely to be able to balloon it, as Korea not quite able to get through that pesky minion. But even if he had have landed that hook, I think maybe it would have been him that's closer to dead rather than Nongshim. As the siege is continuing, Scout taking plate after plate. The hook is going to connect. Chains of Corruption go down as well. But Kingen isn't too worried. And DK still just clutching at straws for now. I think DK's answer is, let's just keep starting fights and seeing what we can get done. There's the Paranoia. They're looking to try and turn it here. Solar Flare not quite going to connect, but it doesn't really matter as the Kiana is just dead. Some need to work out onto Scout here as the snipes are starting to come on through. Taeyoon trying to fight back here. Gets the knock-up, does Korea. And now Shiu looking for that angle. The Arc of Ruin is going to slow him up. And it's just so difficult to make something happen. Public Execution snatches him out of the air. My God, that was cool from King and Showmaker just... Well, Paranoia comes down. The inner turret is already dead. Flash out from Shiu. The rest of the team are going to show up, though, as DK looks to try and fight this one back. Kingen rotating down. Solar Flare is fantastic, and the Gwen is not immune. Slurkle comes in, but doesn't get too much joy here as DK with one missing, trying to continue fighting this one out, but Scout in with a great stasis with his Zhonya's, and Smash just has to cleanse to get himself to safety, leaves the rest of his team in the dust, and Nongshim, I think, are just going to put an end to this game and bring us to a game number 3.
We knew it was going to be one-sided from the draft. We just didn't know which direction, but some arrogance, I feel, in some of those bottom side plays from D+. Some backfires and a complete snowball rolls down the hill as Sponge runs away with the game on this Nocturne.
Yeah, Sponge playing a fantastic game this time around, but Nongshim ultimately just getting it together. I think top side of the map definitely playing well, but it's the mid-jungle today for Nongshim that are definitely looking the best. Even in game number 1, looking fantastic there despite the result, and here in game number 2, able to actually get the result they were looking for.
Let's not forget, like, Lahenz was going in, he was going in.